So I'm just having my morning coffee and my breakfast before I head to the gym this morning before work. And I thought I would give a little bit of a reframe about something that I kind of put on my story yesterday. So I'd kind of put on about kindness, because at the moment the idea of kindness and respect is like a really big buzzing thing in my head. And it's kind of something that I've been thinking about, how I want to lay a precedence down for my relationships with anybody, work colleagues, like friends, anything romantic in the future. Like respect and kindness are kind of my non-negotiables. And often, as somebody who's hugely empathic, and a real person who kind of likes to help people, a real healer energy, if you will, I found that obviously sometimes I can be more susceptible to hurt. And like that story yesterday, from the Bitches Positive, she was talking about how like she's been labelled sensitive when people have just treated her without respect and without kindness, just been disrespectful and just mean. And it's got me thinking a lot. And through therapy, you kind of learn some of these things as well. But essentially, I think the best way to think about if somebody hurts you, whether you're a sensitive person or not, we all get hurt by people. Somebody can say something insensitive, somebody can say something cruel sometimes, and that does happen. I think the best way for you to reframe it, a bit like the example of when people say if you're nervous going on stage, just imagine everybody naked. I would say if somebody's being mean or horrible to you, I want you to imagine them as their child, as their childlike self. Because oftentimes one thing that happens when we're hurting is we don't have a lot of compassion for other people. And my strongest lesson that I'm learning at the moment is even when people hurt me, I'm wanting to choose compassion for them. So instead of this complex and narrative that someone has to be a villain, or they've pissed you off so much, or you hate them, or like all these negative emotions, I'm trying to reframe in my subconscious that sometimes people don't have the toolkit to give you the level of kindness and care and respect and love that you deserve. And it's not about you, it's about the limitations of them. It's their life experience and the fact that they weren't equipped with all the things that you have to be an amazing, kind, considerate person. So next time someone hurts you, like deeply hurts you, not just like, oh, whatever, have compassion. Imagine them as a child and think, okay, they've not grown from this place. As a child, this is the strategy they learn to deal with things that made them feel defensive, triggered, that conflict, anything in life. This is how they learned to deal with it. And because they don't want to do the work, or because they're not aware of these patterns, they continue to make them into adulthood. So you're talking to their 8-year-old self when they're talking to you, when you're having a disagreement, when they're throwing some nasty comments your way. You're talking to their child, and they haven't learned to let their adult take the seat in the conversation. But you can. So you can compassionately say, I'm an adult currently talking to somebody's child, and I have compassion that you are unable to have an adult, emotionally intelligent, vulnerable conversation with me, and that you have to default to mean and unkind behaviour. I feel compassion for you. I hope that you can get to a place where you can kind of be aware of these patterns in the future, but it's not my responsibility to carry the negative energy and break my boundaries because you want to retaliate. So you can observe all that. You can say to yourself in your head, I have compassion for their child, but I'm walking away from this conversation because the adult in me knows that this strategy is not a healthy way to deal with conflict or any issue, or even just a conversation. That's how you start in your own little way trying to heal people, because you can then say this isn't acceptable, and people can kind of learn this strategy they learned as children doesn't work effectively in the adult world, and maybe one day it might motivate them to change their behaviour.